So along those lines as well, how does energy efficiency and waste reduction relate to sustainability?
Yeah, so with energy efficiency, like I mentioned earlier, if you really start tracking your use of energy, that's a great first step. Then you know what you're spending, what's happening. If you are a facility or a company with multiple locations, you can start to do some comparisons and see what's happening there. And one thing we do like folks to do is look at that energy consumption, not only in absolute terms, like how much did you do over a month or a year, but start to maybe allocate it and look at it from an intensity perspective. How much energy per unit of production? Is it per sleep product out the door? Is it per ton of chemical or foam that comes in the door? And then once you start to do that, you have metrics that you can work from. And the next thing would be then to understand how you use energy in your operations, starting to look at if it's fuels and like natural gas, do you have drying ovens? Do you have heaters? Do you have, different equipment that uses gas on a regular basis? Understand that. Is there any steam being produced? And then get a handle on where it's being used. And then if you say you use, 1 million kilowatt hours of electricity in a year, understanding what are the big equipment types, you can start to think, okay, where do we think we're using the most electricity and what could we possibly do to drive that down? And then coming up with what we call energy conservation measures, evaluating that energy use and looking at opportunities to reduce. We recommend turning things off when you don't need them on. That is a huge savings. It's unbelievable the things we see in manufacturing sites in terms of just people just, oh, it's the way we always did it. We just run it even though there's nothing on the line for 2 hours, or that kind of thing. So there's many different things that can be done with energy efficiency, but that is really awesome because if you start saving energy and implementing some of these things, and I will tell you, there's a lot of no cost and low cost things that people can do, like turning things off, changing a procedure. You don't have to think I'm going to have to spend millions of dollars and replace all my equipment or new light bulbs. You don't need to do that. We really zoom in on getting companies and operations to change their behavior and to look at the way they do business, and then do simple things that save you. And then from there, eventually you say, okay, we are probably going to have to replace a piece of equipment or do something different, and then outlay some money in the future. But the savings you achieve from doing the simple and low, no cost things, then can sustainability funding sustainability. That's what we say. You save money, you make some wins, and then it allows you to invest in other things, and then you get continuous ongoing wins.
Yeah, and just to add to that, in addition to the cost savings just from operational efficiencies, depending on where you're located, there could be potential rebates or tax credits for energy efficiency. So that's just another cost saving and how that ties into sustainability um, from that standpoint as well.
We always say for our companies, one of the first things to do, among others, but is to look at your air compressors and check for leaks, because that's one that's always there's always something going on there.
That is a huge one. Yeah, that's a really good one. And that it does take a little bit of time to do that and get a good piece of equipment to measure those leaks, but I can guarantee, we ran some analysis recently on a facility, and we estimated it was 20% of their use for compressed air of their total electricity. When we did put some sub meters on there, and we found out it was more like 25%. And we identified a whole bunch of leaks and other practices. Leak repair typically doesn't cost a lot of money. It's basically just tightening things down, or replacing a little fitting here and there, and that ended up saving about 18% on the electricity used just by cutting down those air leaks. It was huge. So, and then what we recommend, okay, you did it once, now have an ongoing preventative maintenance program that you do this every 6 months or every year. In a plant shutdown, you go around and find more leaks, and you just keep fixing them as they grow, because most compressed air systems are like spaghetti all over the plant. So there's piping and all kinds of equipment everywhere.
I think you brought up a good point, though. Most companies that we talk with don't have sub meters tagged, so I don't know if you wanted to go into that. I know typically, like, it might just be one bill, right? One utility for the entire plant. So I understand where there could be difficulty in understanding, okay, we have this one bill, but like, how do we then narrow down what pieces of equipment are actually really contributing to this bill and, our energy usage? And so I don't know if you want to just expand on the sub meter part of
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, like Nicole's saying here, every one of us, even on our homes, we have one utility meter, so we know how much we consume overall. But I can't tell you how much my refrigerator uses, or I can't tell you exactly how much my air conditioner uses. So the goal of a sub meter is they've really evolved over time. It's a little clamp on device that goes right on the circuit, and then it sends a wireless signal to a hub, and then you can actually measure how much electricity that air conditioner is really using. So again, it's a practice of understanding to help you do a better job of managing your energy.